Hello everybody, and in today's episode of Games with T, I wanted to talk about a very personal topic. A topic that means a lot to me. The slow death of the narrative, story-driven action-adventure titles, specifically in the AAA market. Yes, this topic stems from the recent news about Xbox closing one of my favorite studios, Tango Gameworks. I've talked about this in the past, and I've mentioned this several times in my videos, that Xbox best studio to me, well, two of them I guess, were Ninja Theory and Tango Gameworks. Well, guess what? Tango Gameworks has gone no more, but their specialty, story-driven, narrative, action-adventure titles. And it's really sad to see them go. But it's not just a trend with Xbox. Sony and other big publishers like Square Enix, Ubisoft, etc., Konami are also part of this equation. Now recently you've been seeing a lot of coverage of the Xbox 360 and how some of those games are getting really popular, people want to recollect them, rebuy them, and partly one of the reasons behind that is the quality of single-person, narrative-driven action-adventure titles. I'm sure there are other games out there as well, and obviously there are some games that are not as high quality, but still, if you look back at the Xbox 360, you will see a plethora of amazing action-adventure titles. Let's take Castlevania for example, Castlevania Lords of Shadow, a game that Konami published both on the Xbox 360 and PlayStation 3, and probably one of my favorite titles from them. But chances are, we're never ever going to get a sequel for this title. Konami is not alone. We also have the likes of Tomb Raider, a fantastic reboot of the series, and even some original games that came out on the Xbox 360, but even beyond that, on the PlayStation 4, etc. We got some amazing Tomb Raider games from Square Enix Publishing, and Crystal Dynamics, I believe, was the developer of them. But anyways, gone. We don't even know what the status of the Tomb Raider franchise as a whole is. Let's take a look at Splinter Cell from Ubisoft, another franchise that was thriving during the Xbox 360 era, and now is nowhere to be found. Another quality, narrative-driven action-adventure AAA franchise. Sony themselves are struggling in this department. You have Uncharted that is nowhere to be seen after some great entries on the PlayStation 3, and of course, also on the PlayStation 4. You have the Infamous series, another fantastic series of games, a franchise that was really good on the PlayStation 3 and the PlayStation 4, but once again, gone. Are you seeing this trend here? And then there's Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy, a new game that came out, a great narrative-driven action-adventure title that now is probably never going to see a sequel. These games in general are dying. I know there have been some new releases like Stellar Blade, kind of check that box, maybe even Rise of the Ronin if you want to call it, but if you look at the trend for 2024, you're going to see that most of the games that are getting high praise, high scores, are long RPGs. And guess what? A lot of us don't have the time to play all these long, drawn-out, 100-hour plus RPGs. They're great, but they take forever to complete, and that is simply not good. Now, if you want to look to experience a great narrative-driven adventure game, you have to look towards the indie scene. And yes, the indie folks are making a difference. Some of the smaller games are beautiful, wonderfully crafted games that tell a great story, have a great sense of adventure, and also at times do some amazing combat. But that is not enough. And that is just a segment of what used to be a major part of the gaming world. And it really does suck. Specifically, let's talk about Tango Gameworks, one of my favorite franchises from them, the Evil Within series. I just completed Evil Within 2 this year, and I absolutely loved it. It was such an improvement over the original Evil Within. Mind you, the original Evil Within is still a solid game, but they're gone. And now, that series is pretty much done. We also have Ghostwire Tokyo, another very underrated title. And of course, everybody's favorite Hi-Fi Rush. And for good reason. It is a great title that didn't deserve the fate that it got. There are some franchises still out there that I know are doing well. You have Marvel Spider-Man 2 that came out last year that was a pretty good narrative-driven experience, but also a very underrated, underappreciated in my opinion, Star Wars Jedi Survivor. I really do hope that game did well enough for Respawn to make another one, because this looks like another one of those studios that may get chopped. We're talking about EA here. But yeah, I just wanted to make a quick video kind of ranting about some of these things that I'm seeing out there in the gaming world. some of the things that I'm noticing as I'm playing newer games. And while we're at it, let's talk about Nintendo too. They are not particularly fond of making these types of games. Sure, when it comes to RPGs, they do a great job. They've also done really well with the Legend of Zelda series, but really if you want to really take a look at Nintendo, they're one franchise that kind of focuses on that narrative-driven action-adventure style of game is Metroid, at least in my opinion. And who knows when we're going to see Metroid 4, hopefully soon, but they could also invest a little bit more in this particular genre, and I think it would do them really well. But anyways folks, I just wanted to get online today and talk to you about one of my favorite genres that I'm noticing is slowly fading away. It sucks, at least for me, but what about you guys? Do you care about this genre? Is it one of your favorites? Is it overrated? Would you rather play something else? I'd love to know in the comment section down below. And as always, thank you so much for watching. I'll talk to you guys next time.